Ark Raiders is one of my most anticipated games of the year, and with its release just weeks away, I thought it was time to break down everything that you need to know about it. But before we get started, remember to like the video and subscribe to the channel for more PlayStation video content just like this. Anyway, here's everything you need to know about Ark Raiders. Ark Raiders is an online PvPvE extraction shooter, where teams of up to 3 explore, loot, and either avoid or fight the roaming AI enemies and other real-world players. It's dropping on PS5, Xbox Series X and S, and PC on October 30th, and will cost just £33 or $40, with a £50 or $60 deluxe edition offering additional skins and in-game currency. An open server slam runs from October 17th to the 19th, giving players a chance to try out the game ahead of its launch. You do not need code access or anything like this is free for anyone to play. The game is being developed by Embark Studios, the Swedish studio behind the finals, which I think is the best first-person shooter currently on the PS5. However, Ark Raiders is a very different kind of experience. For one, this is, of course, a third-person shooter, and a much slower-paced one at that. Secondly, Ark Raiders is set in a post-apocalyptic world some 150 years into the future. The world is scoured by killer AI robots called Ark machines, which drive surviving humans underground. You live in one of those underground cities, yours called Speranza, a hub of civilization nestled deep under the Italian countryside. Mechanically, this is not an explorable space like the tower in Destiny. Instead, it's here that you can manage your loadout, trade with vendors, accept quests, and craft supplies via menus. In the lore, you're a raider, a daring individual willing to risk venturing to the surface to gather valuable supplies for yourself and your colony. A little extra lore tidbit in here, it seems as though Ark Raiders is set in the same universe as the finals, although some 80 years further into the future, as various brands from the finals have been spotted here. Sure, it'll remain just as an Easter egg, but it's a cool one. So, you venture to the surface in teams of 3, with up to 21 real-world players in any given match, according to the PlayStation Store. You can venture to the surface in solo, but you will be going up against other teams of 3. It is, however, possible to team up with other players, both through in-game commands and a proximity game chat. Matches are as long as half an hour, but you can extract any point if you wish. As time goes on, extraction points will steadily close before a bomb or some kind of shockwave with something landing on Earth kills anyone still on the surface. There will be 4 maps on launch with a potential 5th on the way. Those are Buried City, a sandy, high-risk map speckled with tight streets, a hospital, highway, and towering high-rises. The spaceport is a far more open space with warehouses filled with loot and command towers to scale. Dam Battlegrounds is sort of split down the middle by this big dam with a woodland marshland on one side and a red lake on the other. These 3 maps are those that were included in the beta a few months ago, and Dam Battlegrounds will show up once more in the server slam. The additionally mentioned maps are the Blue Gate, a map based higher up in the mountains with underground tunnels around small towns, and then Stellar Montes, which Embark is only teasing at this point by saying what this is and how to get there is still unknown. Whether this will be available at launch or in post-launch is also unknown at this time. All of the maps will feature dynamic weather events such as fog, sandstorms, and rain, and there will be night variants of each map which offer better loot but an increased Ark presence. But what are you doing when you explore these maps? Well, your main aim is to get loot and get out. You'll rummage through old apartments, storage units, and high-tier loot areas to come back with weapons, ammunition, healing components, and crafting supplies. You then must escape back to Speranza through one of its extraction points, which, as I mentioned, steadily expire as the match continues. These will also alert nearby raiders that you are trying to leave, so be prepared for a fight. For a sneakier exit, there are also raider hatches, which are kind of single-use exits. These can be opened for around 10 seconds, but you are going to need a raider hatch key to use it. Just one person on the squad needs one though for everyone to have a go. Just don't hang around too long. Now, let's have a look at progression. Returning home with a bag full of loot will allow you to expand your stash. Components can then be used to craft medical supplies, ammunition, upgrade your current weapons, and even craft shields for further protection when out in the field. The continual hope is to continue bringing back more supplies and continually discovering better gear, meaning you are constantly better equipped every time you return to the surface. However, there are also two other progression systems beyond this. For one, there is XP, which will earn you skill points for every level up you get. These can then be used to upgrade your character. Upgrades pertain to things like stamina, carrying capacity, and melee damage. There's a full skill tree here. XP will be earned regardless of whether you survive a trip to the surface or not, but obviously, you will receive more if you return. There are also vendors in Speranza with challenges to complete, which will award XP and supplies, and then you can actually buy new supplies or sell your old ones to them as well. The second progression system is related to the workbenches used to craft stuff. You will steadily unlock specific benches by playing a certain amount of games for each. At least that's how it was in the beta. So for example, you would unlock X bench by playing 6 games and Y bench by playing 12 games. Once unlocked, these can also be upgraded to allow for the crafting of rarer tiered items. You have the basic bench, equipment bench, weapons bench, med station, explosive bench, and the refiner. Now each of these pretty much does what it says on the tin, with the refiner allowing you to craft rarer materials for higher tier items. You must bring back specific crafting components to upgrade each bench, which obviously is the big drive of the game. If you have a run of bad luck, it won't all be for naught, as Scrappy the Rooster will frequently award you a collection of basic crafting components. And if you've lost all of your guns, all of your supplies, you can head out to the surface with a free loadout, but be warned, this is with the lowest tiered items. Embark has commented, however, that the game is designed so that higher tier items should give you an edge, but shouldn't mean that you're winning every fight you're in. Skill and tactics can always win out. Now I want to take a moment to talk about the audio and visual components of the game. Ark Raiders features some of the best sound design you'll hear this generation, but it goes beyond just sounding good, it actually impacts the game. You have to be very conscious of the sound that you are making when topside. Everything that you do, from the surface you walk on, to the loot you rummage through, and the items you use, will make identifiable noises, all of which can help nearby raiders close in on your location. It encourages a degree of stealth, but also for you to keep your own ears open too. And that extends beyond just the noise players make. Ark machines all have distinct sounds, and in-world elements like extraction points can also be heard as well as seen. In addition, you should keep an eye open for key details. Flares fire in the sky when a raider has been downed. You can tell when an Ark machine has spotted enemy raiders in the distance, and then also utilizing things like darkness or environmental events like sandstorms to obscure your own visibility is also key. With visuals and audio playing such a big part in the experience, Ark Raiders is incredibly immersive. Now let's talk about the AI enemies that you'll be facing topside. Ark machines have several different variants, each offering their own unique challenges. Rollbots have 2 smaller variants that either stun or spew fire, and a larger variant which has significantly more speed. There are 2 kinds of sentry turrets, one with light ammo machine fire and the other with hefty sniper fire. They are noted by their large lasers and of course can be found atop buildings. Then you have the spider-like creatures. Ticks, the smallest of the bunch, hide inside buildings and leap at raiders, but are fairly easy to kill. Bisons are much larger and will similarly leap insane distances once they spot you. Avoid these guys at all cost. And then you have bastions, which are the largest multi-legged variant, although more crab-like than spider-like. But they do rock a really hefty minigun. Cover is advised with this one. There are then also flying Ark machines. Snitches will alert nearby Arks if they see you, but do no damage themselves. Wasps, hornets, and rocketeers will fire upon you with incrementally tougher guns, and more armor. There are also raid-like enemies such as the Queen, which are pretty much impossible to take down yourself. These are kind of like community events based on what we saw with the tech tests. Here's a little bit about the Arc Raiders development. Arc Raiders is Embark Studios' second game after the finals, but it was originally supposed to come out before it. Revealed back in 2021, Arc Raiders originally started life as a PvE co-op shooter and was reportedly going to be free to play and launching in 2022. The game was eventually delayed into 2023 and by this point had shifted to the PvPvE survival extraction shooter that we know it as today. Further delays quietly happened, some likely due to its rebrand, but also because the team was focusing on launching its first game, the finals, at the tail end of 2023. Once it pivoted to PvPvE, Embark strived to take what it had already established through development and, along with the lessons it learned from the finals, to hopefully make Arc Raiders all the better. Amidst this progress, it changed from a free-to-play game to a fully paid game. Although, as you've heard earlier, it's not a full price game. Now that we've looked into the past, what about its future? As the game eventually progresses into post-launch, there will be supposedly a continuous stream of new updates with new maps, weapons, and variants of Arc machines. If Embark has a similar approach as they do with the finals, there will also be changes implemented based on player feedback. For those looking for a good grind, Arc Raiders actually won't feature mandatory progression wipes at the start of each season, a common practice within the extraction shooters genre. Saying it wants to respect players that don't have a ton of time to sink into the game, they've announced that players will have the option to wipe their progress, contributing towards what it calls expedition projects. Now, expedition projects will operate in a repeating cycle of roughly 8 weeks, where players can contribute towards and make progress on their project. These are said to be a large time investment. You then have the option to commit to completing your expedition on the final 8th week. If completed, you will lose your level, skills, item and inventory, workshop progression and crafting abilities. Anything you've paid for, you'll get to keep that. However, you will earn permanent account unlocks for each completed expedition, unique cosmetic rewards, and account buffs applied during expedition cycles. Embark is remaining coy on what these are beyond bragging rights, but are being careful to note that these will not give players an advantage over those that haven't completed expeditions. And as a nice touch, those that don't manage to complete an expedition can keep their progress for the next expedition cycle. Arc Raiders will feature paid cosmetics along with paid battle passes, although these are more similar to the ones in Helldivers 2. Basically, they won't be time based and you can work on them at your own pace. Battle passes will feature cosmetics along with weapons and gear, which can obviously be lost when out in the field. Battle passes can be purchased with currency earned in the game, although this currency is earned rather slowly, but it's always nice to have that option. Outfits feature toggles for slight variations like hats or straps along the chest or whatever, and backpacks can be picked individually. Lastly, a tiny bit of tech talk. Arc Raiders will not launch on last gen consoles, it's focusing on the PS5 generation. The game targets 60 FPS on the PS5 with a high quality resolution range, meaning it will aim for 1600p but can go as low as 720p during high intensity moments. It will come with a PS5 Pro enhanced version which features an epic quality dynamic resolution of 2160p, but again can go all the way down to 720. As an aside, the game looked fantastic on PS5 during the beta, but did feature frequent screen tearing. That was, however, an older version of the game, so hopefully that's all smoothed out come launch. So there you have it, a big old list of everything you need to know about Arc Raiders. Let me know if you're dying to get your hands on this one like I am when it launches on October 30th. And while you're down there, remember to like the video if you enjoyed it, I really would appreciate it, and subscribe to the channel if you'd like to see more content just like this. Anyway, that's all from me today, so until next time, I've been Aaron, and this has been Push Square.